berangkat bilangnya apa sih? Siang atau pagi ya? Masih semangat pagi aja ya? Semangat pagi. Hai, my name is Pradeep Singha. Saya orang India, sudah 17 tahun di Indonesia. Saya coba pakai bahasa Indo aja ya, atau campur-campur ya Pak. Maaf. Okay. So first of all, thanks for everyone for joining this event. And mengenai yang Gen AI itu, yang Big Boss, Pak Hendra dan teman-teman sudah jelasin mengenai Gen AI. Tapi Gen AI kalau mau lebih efektif dan successful, the things which you have to remember itu data foundation, fondasi data, baliknya fondasi data. Fondasi data itu harus dikuat. Yang tadi Pak Hendra bilang mengenai hallucination, bias. Ini akan terjadi kalau data kita itu gak bagus, quality itu gak bagus, pasti itu akan terjadi. Maksudnya kalau halusinasi, bias, kalau terjadi kayak gini, outcome itu gak accurate, result itu gak bisa percaya. So all those things are going to happen. Now that's why I'm going to focus presentasi saya itu lebih about how to harness your data in your organization. Data itu kemana-kemana, tapi dari data itu gimana kita akan dapat deep insight, biar itu akan dicarikan untuk economic value for the organization. Oke, agenda saya itu bagi antara 9 poin. Number 1, AI in today's world, importance of data in AI, dan AI data pipeline, data quality issues, data centralization, and leveraging data management tools, data security and privacy, scalability in infrastructure, dan AI augmented data management. Now, if you really see this, rapid AI adoption is happening everywhere. Everybody wants to get into this Gen AI kind of thing. The reasons are basically very clear, that they want to, yang tadi bilang yang presentasi sebelum itu yang dari IDC, mereka bilangnya use cases dan business outcome. Use case ini itu kategori dalam 3 pilar. Satu itu lebih ke arah operations, yang kedua decision making, yet very effective, efficient, dan productive, dan third is customer experience. All the use cases are around these 3 big pillar ini. Kita mau efficient decision making, kita mau being with day-to-day operation itu akan lebih cepat, lebih bagus, dan customer experience. How we can make the customer experience more easy to approach our product and sell it. Now, my slides are basically going to talk about the data quality and the volume, how much data is good enough so that we can able to generate a meaningful insight. Without this high quality data and a good amount of data, we cannot achieve the proper result. This is the most important factor. A company like Google, Amazon, Netflix, mereka tuh butuh lot of data to power their AI algorithm. Kayak if you say Google itu butuh browsing search, klik, dari situ dia akan monetize by giving a personal ad. Netflix itu kita akan untuk pilih watch history dan bisa kita kasih rating. Based on that, they can actually give you more similar kind of movies to the viewers. The third is Amazon. Amazon is based on your purchase history. They actually give you similar kind of upselling, cross-selling. So all these basically they are heavily required the data. Now this is the data which actually give you more business. Now we have a data, but this data to make it usable, those are the most important aspects. Now when you're talking about the first thing which when you talk about is the data pipeline. So this is the starting point of any data acquisition. So data acquisition in this scenario, will be two types. Once it is arrived, we use straight away or we derive. So there are only two types. Either it arrive dan kita langsung tempel dalam dashboard dan kita akan nonton, atau kita akan view, kita akan menganalisa, atau kita derive sebagai kalkulasi. Now in this, my presentation will talk more on this, the center portion. Data kita acquire dari traditional system, source system kita, dan dari various telemetry devices atau dari yang social media. Yang tengah itu yang paling penting. Please remember, yang tengah itu paling penting. The first thing, how do you collect your data? Koleksinya, cara koleksinya gimana? Apakah itu real time butuh atau kita butuh batching? Sesuai use case Bapak. Contoh, kalau saya mau fraud detection, apakah fraud detection itu setelah terjadi harus saya diagnosa dan kayak postmortem, atau kita mau tangkap yang transaksi kayak kini kayak AML itu langsung waktu itu? So based on that, this real time and batching has to be decided. That is on the collection. Now the data which we have, now pelan-pelan kita akan terjun dalam data quality. So in that we have to check the data profiling. Data profiling is very much required. Karena banyak customer bilang, oh data saya tuh jujur, nggak konsisten, data saya tuh kotor, data saya tuh banyakkan itu ada junk value, terus ada banyak duplicate. Nah, kalau begitu kita tahu nih gimana, itu kotornya sampai berapa banyak, berapa duplicate record. Data profiling is the most important point where you know about your data, know your data. Itu data profiling. Habis itu ya, setelah kita tahu data saya itu kotor sampai berapa, terus habis itu harus saya mengtreatmentnya apa, itu akan terjunkan cleaning, which is cleansing also. So first thing first, saya mau perbaiki, tapi perbaikinya gimana itu akan kasih tahu oleh data profiling. Habis itu data standardization, transformation. Ini yang paling penting. Kalau ini akan dilakukan, apapun inisiatif ke depan, itu pasti akan manfaat dan result will be always good. Otherwise, when we are talking about Gen AI, all the problem of inaccurate, hallucination, bias, and all these things will definitely happen. Then, this is what my previous presentation team said, there are a lot of POC event failure. Maksudnya business value itu gak dapat, buang waktu, percuma. So, if you know what is the use case you want to do, attach that with your business value, assign some dollar value. Kalau saya masukin bangun use case ini, business value-nya apa? Dua pilar doang. Business value, your Gen AI or AI initiative will be driven by two. Number one, your business value, and number two, data yang butuh buat AI dan Gen AI itu udah siap nggak? Kalau sudah ada, apakah data itu saya bisa langsung pakai nggak? Kalau nggak, harus saya lakukan apa? Yang missing data, yang inconsistent data, itu yang penting. Kalau fondasi ini strong, masa dapat apapun, analytics, advanced analytics, AI, Gen AI, semua akan jalan dengan successful. Itu yang penting. So data quality issues, basically there are 6 types of data issues, which is incompleted data, inconsistent data, duplicate data, outdated data. Karena data itu dari production waktu kasih slicing, data itu karena lama saya minta kemarin, tapi karena 1 minggu lewat, data itu saya harus dianalisa atau harus dikerjakan pakai data yang lama. Tapi lama-lama what's actually happening, I really want to in line with the today's, which is very difficult. So because of that, karena outdated data, inaccurate data, data yang kasih yang waktu saya feeding itu measurementnya salah, ukurannya salah. So all these problems comes in under the inaccurate data. Dan integrity challenge. Data itu habis dari habis itu kita transformasi dan sampai ke analisa sampai ke kita akan kasih ke downstream system. So this is the complete life cycle. And waktu life cycle setiap tahap itu apakah Bapak Ibu bisa cek integrity, konsisten bisa nggak? Harus dicek. Caranya gimana? Harus ada framework yang bisa dicek. So ini yang di data quality challenges. Now, how do you tackle data quality issues? This is very, very important. Because many of the initiative, oh kita maunya AI, kita udah ada data scientist, kita ada Gen AI orang yang bisa dikerjakan. Tapi kita underestimate magnitude. Harus orang itu, teman-teman yang business user, semua IT team, business user harus dilibatkan dan dicek dulu apakah data saat itu cukup nggak, data yang kita punya itu cukup nggak. So to tackle these issues, we should require a very strong DQ tools, a data exception framework, understand the anomalies, data patternnya gimana, itu penting banget. Tadi saya bilangnya pakai data profiling. Dan kita harus socialize sama yang frontliners untuk kasih tahu mereka tuh apakah mereka akan beberapa field itu karena mereka bisa skip, mereka jalan. Tapi field itu akan dibutuh ke depan buat MIS reporting, ke bulanan laporan itu butuh. So kita harus di-socialize. Dan those fields like mandatory fields itu dari IT kita harus make it nggak boleh maksudnya skip, harus diisi. So those we have to freeze waktu saat kita development. The fifth one is basically harus IT dan data owners itu harus sering ngomong. Kalau enggak itu definitely there will be a huge gap and this will definitely lead to the failure of the project. Dan setelah kita dapat data quality yang bagus, please write back yang data yang udah bagus itu masing-masing source systems. Biar selalu data itu all the ecosystem sudah ada sistem semua itu datanya synchronized. So these are the 6 points which I always insist during my consulting, during my even implementation also. This is very much important. Once you cover this one, your data will be always been properly controlled and you can make best out of your data. Now we are going to talk about data standardization. Data centralization. What is the importance of data centralization? Tadi yang salah satu presenter itu tanya mengenai siapa yang punya data lake. Karena source system kita itu, core system kita itu beda-beda. So now customer satu itu punya credit card. Customer kedua, same customer is also having a saving account, kasa account. Karena waktu manusia yang buat produk itu karena persepsi produk bukan customer. Gara-gara itu kita mapping itu produk dan customer. Itu selalu waktu saat saya lihat customer itu pakai kacamata produk. Tapi waktu saat dia beli produk, dia bisa beli produk lainnya. Gara-gara itu kita lihat duplicate customer. Now, how to do that ini apakah same customer atau beda customer? Example, waktu saat saya datang di Indonesia pertama kali itu ya 17 tahun lalu, paspor India itu nama atas itu ada nama belakang pertama dan nama pertama itu di next line. Gara-gara itu nama asli saya itu Pradeep Singh. Karena paspor itu begini, kita work permit saya itu menjadi kayak Singha Pradeep. Sekarang Singh saya, terus nama rekening semua Singha Pradeep. Now how do you know that Pradeep Singha dan Singha Pradeep itu sama? Pakai eyeballing pasti, tapi seperti saya ada banyak yang orang asing bisa jadi begini. How do you identify that? Now to do that, we have to bring all the data in one place, which will always, when you put the two pictures together, it brings more informative, it brings more information. Then you can take the decision. So that's why we request salah satu reason itu harus di data unification, satu centralized tempat itu penting. The reasons are very clear: data access management, costnya efficient, for the better security, seamless integrations, scalability, flexibility untuk high performance query, buat advanced analytics kayak customer 360 degree, mau product 360 degree dan supplier 360 degree, and of course for future proofing where you can actually leverage different type of new data kayak audio, video, and of course historical data analysis. Karena product processor kita itu transaksi itu akan terjadi, tapi kalau lama-lama akan dipenuhi itu akan lama. Query kita itu pasti lama. Now, but I don't want to throw my data karena nanti untuk AI dan Gen AI itu kita butuh data banyak. Because remember, I told you high quality and high quantity juga, because if I'm going to have a very less data, then it will be biased. Then there will be hallucination. So I need a good amount of data so that I can see the data pattern, the anomaly. So this is the place where if you have a unified data platform, then you can keep long history data for your analysis. Nah, tadi saya bilang itu salah satu architecture ini. If you see all the DB boxes, yang kotak DB itu lebih ke relational database. Yang ke bawah itu unstructured data. Bapak Ibu taruh aja di tengah. Tengah itu bisa panggil data lake, data warehouse, data lake house. Itu akan bisa jadi kayak Hadoop based storage. Ini bisa ditaruh di on-prem juga atau di cloud. Itu tergantung how the organization wants their platform, whether you want to be on cloud or on-prem. Tapi bisa dua-duanya. Tergantung, of course, tergantung dompet. Apakah saya harus masuk ke CapEx atau saya bisa, saya nggak bisa CapEx loh. Saya pelan-pelan aja, the way my business grow, then I also grow, then better I go to the cloud. Now, this is very important. Saya nggak main tool. I am a tool agnostic, solution centric. But once you decided, based on your pain point, once you decided what is the solution, what is the approach, what is your strategy, that is the right time when you are going to choose the right tool. Right tool itu penting banget. Karena there are a lot of ways to do. Saya tuh zaman scripting, pakai Bash script. I'm very good in that. I'm very good in C shell. I'm very good at it. But now people really want how the scripting can work, how there will be transparency, how the next person who's going to join can actually see those scripting and make utilize of that. So which is why we have to have a proper management, a production-ready tools, which will help the organization to always lead towards the business continuity. So this is a situation where a sales guy, a business user actually wants to know, I want to create a sales report, but I don't know where's the data. Really, tadi saya bilang itu orang IT sama orang business user itu selalu akan sahabat, ping-pong each other. But even then, what actually happen is people leave and go. Tadi saya dapat yang teman saya yang kawan lama yang dulu di Danamon sekarang di Mandiri. So during his tenure, apapun dia buat itu bagus. Dia akan buat report, dia buat bangun data foundation data. Tapi lama-lama karena yang orang itu udah left, knowledge itu hilang. This is a practical problem. But how to do a change in that report? How to add further in the report? This is what actually help is data catalog, which also called as metadata management. Ini penting banget. It's a practical issue. Every people makes a good report, but over the period what happened? Report itu gak bisa change lagi. Kenapa? Orangnya udah pernah resign loh. Ini cuma satu report, tapi there are millions of such report. There are millions of such scripting. So data cataloging is a tool which actually helps to know how the data is arrived, at what point it is derived, and how it is visualized till end to end. So at any point of time business user itu mau bilang, report ini saya mau tambah satu kolom karena manajer saya yang minta. Bapak bisa tahu ini kolom itu kalau saya bergerak itu akan impact ke mana? Mungkin buat Bapak akan report itu langsung bisa buat nambah kolom atau apa, oke. Tapi tiba-tiba ada impact yang report yang lain hancur. Nah, to avoid that, you require a data catalog which actually tells kalau saya bergerak kolom ini akan impact ke mana. Berarti saya hati-hati. Berarti langsung saya tahu, langsung time to market, develop tindakan akan lebih cepat. Kalau enggak saya harus tanya 1000 orang. Bro, ini yang data ini masuk dari mana? Tadi tabel apa? Lihat, time to marketnya lama banget. So catalog is very important. The another one is basically, waktu saat saya buat report itu banyak duplicate record. Now, how to solve this problem? Master data management. This is very important. These are very two tools. Pertama saya bilang itu DIDQ tool. Habis itu saya bilangnya data governance under that. We are talking about metadata management and master data management. So when you're talking about the data catalog, Bapak bisa lihat, waktu saat saya akan klik satu employee key, saya mau changes employee key itu, saya mau nambah beberapa suffix prefix. Nah sekarang saya sudah tahu langsung, oh ini source-nya ini, targetnya ini. Cepat, saya nggak usah panggil orang IT, business user udah tahu. Berarti saya tahu source-nya apa, targetnya apa, terus apakah ada derivation transformation, ada nggak? Langsung udah tahu. Berarti saya bisa langsung tindakan daripada nunggu-nunggu. So this is actually helps. Many of the projects actually what happened, kita mau project baru buat MIS reporting. Saya langsung pergi ke bos, karena OJK akan minta, BI akan minta satu report. Saya mau budget buat develop 5 report itu. Kita ambil budget dan kita akan kerjakan. Tapi kita lupa data governance, data cataloging itu udah update. Data catalog itu seperti kamus, seperti indeks Bapak. Buat ekosistem IT, data assets itu di-residing kemana-kemana. So every project, if you are going to do any new project, please by default there should be a metadata project management also. By default, tanpa tanya. Karena waktu saat Bapak akan buat satu kolom baru, harus di catatan dalam indeks ini. Biar nanti masa depan kalau saya resign, somebody will say, oh kemarin Pradeep itu kerja di ini. Berarti saya tahu anybody can work from that piece of work. Because at the end of the day, show must go on. Nobody should stop working. So this is to make your life easy, data catalog. Now, benefits of master data management. Because once you have a proper master data management, then you always know who is that customer. Example, dulu waktu di kuliah, saya makan di hotel ayah saya, karena dia yang penting semua. Buat bulanan, my allowances, everything he gives me. Tapi waktu itu karena dia tinggal di Surabaya, contoh dia tinggal di Surabaya, dia transfer saja duit ke rekening saya. Berarti saya buka rekening saya. Then after that, I use the same rekening setelah saya dapat kerja somewhere, but I'm using the same rekening. Then I actually created one more rekening, not because of me, but because of the corporate account, karena perusahaan yang buat. Nah, in the same bank, example, contoh Mandiri ada. Now, how do you identify that this is the same Pradeep Singha? Karena waktu itu alamatnya saya di hostel. Nah, sekarang saya udah ada perumahan sendiri. How do you identify that? Berarti waktu saya mau kirim flyer atau tawaran itu, saya akan kasih duplikat 2 kali. Atau orang customer service saya itu panggil 2 kali. Nah, this is just a small problem, tip of the iceberg. Nanti banyak yang situasi ini akan walaupun kerja, tapi produktivitas itu nggak ada. Just imagine where, Mandiri itu tahu nggak at any point of time ada berapa entity orang ada rekening di situ. So that when I'm actually talking to Pradeep alone, interest rate-nya bisa beda. Tapi kalau saya ngomong sebagai satu kelompok, itu win-win loh, pasti interest rate-nya lebih bagus. Because I'm dealing with the quantity. So this is, again, NDM helps you to find those household, corporate, group, and all those. Data security and privacy. Data is an asset. We are hearing that, yes, data is an asset. But please don't forget, data is liability too, more liability. Karena data yang kita punya itu punya orang lain. That's the biggest liability ours, that we have to safeguard their privacy, their details, so that people outside shouldn't misuse that. But the asset and also liability. So when you're talking about data security and security techniques, so we do data. You need to do data how to control these data breaches and in the AI and data privacy concerns. That is basically done by data masking, data tokenization, doing the data encryption. Tadi yang bilang itu data poisoning. So when my data are basically, I've already encrypted, what you're going to poison? So this is the methodology. This is where the entity comes. Kita ada tool oh proses kayak gini itu, oh, ini semua saya bisa pakai scripting, pakai SHA, saya bisa scripting. Tapi apakah itu nggak reusability? So there should be a production ready application which can do this automatically. Waktu saat saya butuh, because there is no project tanpa data loh. Data itu saya nggak mau dummy, saya mau nih yang dari production. Compliance tiba-tiba security bilang, oh kita nggak boleh kasih data, karena nanti auditor data pasti akan dia galak. Karena data production itu masuk ke non-prod. Nah gimana? Nanti saya akan pakai production dummy data untuk yang apa? Untuk SIT, UAT. Nanti waktu saat go live, awful, parah. Karena yang ekspektasi, yang kemarin kalkulasi itu kan pakai dummy data saya akan kerjakan. Nah, project ini. So how about there is one application which will automatically ask the data, ask the database, I need the data. 1 juta record, random aja, langsung dia bawa, dia encrypt dan langsung kasih. Satu project sendiri kita ada 2 atau 3 environment, UAT, SIT, development. So 3 environment itu maksudnya butuh 3 slice of data. Karena SIT setelah SIT unit test kita rusakkan data. UAT orang bilang, oh saya maunya data balik lagi karena data udah rusak. Nah balik lagi. Lama banget, nah karena saya akan kayak orang pengen minta sama orang DBA, compliance masuk, security masuk karena dia buka firewall. So project goes long and long. Bukan buat kerja, buat nunggu. We have to wait for other SBU. Because DBA orang yang akan dislice itu bukan kerja buat ini. Dia tuh mau support bank, all the database in the complete ecosystem. So we have to wait for him. Same with security. Tapi project saya akan delay. Apakah kita delay ini masukin dalam Gantt chart kita nggak? Oh, karena ini kita nunggu, kita tak pernah. So that's why all projects always delay because we never factor that. Kita tahu kalau kita tulisnya gimana kamu? Waiting period dalam project Gantt chart, nggak kasih. But having such tool, this is where the entity comes and we give you those tools which is very easy to slice those data, make it available for your all kind of testing in a very minutes, not in days, minutes. Of course, one of the factor for that fondasi data itu scalability and infrastructure. I need to handle large set of data. So where I should go? I should go cloud computing. So this is where you actually match based on what kind of use case, what kind of how much data you are going to play around. You actually use your infrastructure, which is where the cloud computing comes. I need real-time processing karena waktu saat fraud detection happening, waktu saat saya mau anti money laundering use case, saya mau real-time. Nah, so that time for those processing, I have to have a cluster where a lot of CPUs are working together, like Spark cluster, a Flink cluster. So this is where we actually map based on your use case and the kind of processing we bring in the cluster. And the last one we are talking about is AI augmented data management. Now, it's very, very good. I really love this. And it is really started happening. So, business user itu tahunya kata-kata business, business jargon. Oh, saya mau saldo. Tapi saldo itu untuk yang nasabah itu di database mana, tabel mana, kolom mana. Waktu saya masuk sana juga bukan nggak ada saldo, mungkin ada di situ kas underscore bal atau balance. Gimana tahu balance yang mana benar, yang mana salah? So this is what basically when we are talking about the AI is helping you to find that. So AI now like ChatGPT you masuk dalam, tapi it has awareness of your data. So masuk dalam ChatGPT you masuk. Saya mau net sales untuk tahun kemarin. Langsung dia tahu sendiri data itu di mana akan langsung tempel data. Nah, IT mau tahu, oh saya mau SQL belakang itu apa? Langsung dia akan klik tombol nanti kasih tahu SQL query-nya ini. Ini yang di beberapa table join bla 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 udah ready. Dia akan buat data pipeline langsung. So this is actually started happening. So AI is basically helping. Now, in the given scenario, business users are going to be very least depend on IT people. Now, to do this approach, to get this solution, there are 2 ways. Again, kalau banknya ada banyak duit, have the investment on GPU and you scan all your data. That means your engine is now self-aware that data, self-aware, data aware. Atau implement data cataloging. Because if you data catalog, dia udah tahu untuk saldo itu akan di reset dalam database apa dan tabel apa. So there are only two ways to approach it. Now all these are basically coming, and we are basically, entity has those solutions. Feel free to reach out. Thank you.